Hey, how's it going, everyone? This is going to be a little bit of a different video than what I usually do on the channel. If you saw that thumbnail, I promise this isn't going to be a situation where I say I'm going to be leaving YouTube or I'm apologizing for something. I want to make it very clear. This video is meant to be a reinstatement that I am committed to keeping this channel alive and trying to do my best to provide entertainment to you guys. And also, I have nothing to hide either. So this is not one of those kind of, hey, let's talk sort of videos. I'm just putting that out there first and foremost and clearing the air before I continue to say what I want to say. I don't really know if this is the video that you might be expecting, or I've debated on whether it's even really worth my time to record what I'm about to talk about, but there's just been this nagging feeling in the back of my brain for quite a while now that has been preventing me from being able to be as productive as I could be when making things here on YouTube. And I'd like to hope that this video that I am making here will not only kind of clear things up for people who may think that I don't post often enough, or that, I'm late to the party and talking about certain things, and I'm just kind of behind the times with what I try to do here. And so I hope to address all of these things here and kind of reset expectations for what this channel is going to be and what I hope it will be as it continues to, hopefully grow over the years. But at the end of the day, this channel is not meant to grow into, some kind of a hustle or a business or something that I'm trying to mine a whole ton of profit out of. This YouTube channel has never been about trying to make money and to gain a whole bunch of followers so I can gain fame. Like, if I make money doing these videos, cool. Like, I am monetized, and so that would be kind of a nice side benefit to all of this if I do get some kind of monetary gain. I'm not going to lie there. But fame is absolutely not what I hope to achieve making these videos, because this all has always been a hobby for me. And it's not just the fact that, it's because everyone else wants to be a social media star. No, it all goes back to the fact that when I was in elementary school, one of the things that I really got into when I was pretty young, we're talking maybe like 8 or 9 years old, something like that, is they had something called the Broadcast Club, where in the computer lab at my elementary school, you'd go in there and you get to participate in helping making videos that get posted on the TV network that gets broadcast. And network is a loose term, but you know what I mean. The TVs that are in all of the classrooms, where they show the morning announcements. That used to be a thing. I don't know if it still is now in elementary schools, but needless to say, like, back then, working on those old translucent Mac computers, I learned how to edit using those primitive versions of iMovie. I developed a knack for it very quickly, and I really enjoyed making videos, the process of it. I don't know if it's like the analytical side of my brain that liked assembling things in a certain order and making them make sense from point A to point B. You could say that me making videos on YouTube stems from me discovering my love for editing at a very early age. And I've also always loved movies too, most especially around, like, when I was 13 or 14 years old. I really developed like a cinephile type love for movies where I just ate up everything I could about like upcoming releases and news and stuff like that. All of that is to say that this channel is not rooted in just trying to pick a random niche and then hopefully get a quick buck off making YouTube videos. No, this has always been my thing. This has always been me wanting to just talk about what I want to talk about because I find it to be fun. But because of the fact that this is just a hobby, that is kind of at odds with, what YouTube has become over the years, where, I remember when YouTube first started, back in the mid 2000s, like, I discovered YouTube and maybe like a year or so after it was launched on the internet, around 2006 is when it really got into it. And back then it was just a bunch of random people making videos about just random stuff, like skits. I was on there making like stop motion Lego videos that sucked. No, I will admit that they were horrible. But I had fun, and everyone else did. But over the years, it became much more of a corporatized thing where, people saw this as a monetary opportunity, and they really took that into high gear over the years. Once Google changed the way that they distribute ad revenue, there became this whole game around trying to get subscribers, get views, get sponsorships, and all this stuff. And so, because of all of this, if you want to actually make it as a quote unquote successful YouTuber with a whole bunch of views, you do have to put in a lot of work, and you do have to make a lot of videos in order to get seen. Not just a lot of videos, but videos actually people will want to watch from beginning to end. That is probably the most important thing, is just making a whole ton of videos, and then luck is involved, because I'm sure a lot of big YouTubers out there will probably talk about how for a while they've been making these videos that no one was watching, and then all of a sudden, poof, like one video and their popularity skyrockets overnight, and then suddenly they have like a so-called career out of it. So contrast that with my experience, where before I started YouTube, I was blogging, just randomly here and there. I had opportunities to watch movies between, being at school and going to work, and so I'd post my reviews and share them with all my Facebook friends, and that was it. But once I was out of school, we're talking like the end of 2018, I got a full-time job, and then I started my YouTube channel here at the very beginning of 2019. And at that time, I was making videos semi-regularly. It was like maybe once, maybe twice a week. Since then, balancing a full-time job with sharing responsibilities with family, doing chores, being able to spend time with my wife, but then most especially in the past year and a half or so, having time to spend with my young daughter as well, and be a father and all those things. I guess the ultimate point I'm trying to make here with all of that preamble is, with my life and how it's structured, working full time, and you know having all of the things that go in between that, like I'm trying to work out consistently because I have a little bit of a weight issue, and then finding time to spend time with family, with friends, with my daughter, of course, and my wife. YouTube being in the mix of all of that, where I have to watch movies in order to have things to talk about. I need to play video games to have things to talk about. And I need to actually record things and edit them and make them the way that I want them to be made. That takes a whole lot of time and energy out of my life, which, don't get me wrong, like, I really love doing it, but I think it got to a point where me trying to balance all of these things, it really got to me to where for the past several months or so making these videos, I would really struggle to want to start making something because of me thinking of all the other things I could be doing in my life, whereas I'm just sitting here stuck at my desk working at my computer for who knows how many hours to make a video. And that constant thought of making these choices of doing other things that are probably more important than this, where at this point it's still just a hobby, where I have the following that I do have, which I'm very grateful for, don't get me wrong, but everyone is trying to make YouTube out to be this game where you're trying to hustle to make a whole bunch of videos and make money and all that stuff, and I just don't have the time and the energy to really be on the same wavelength as everyone else. And so YouTube is really ultimately something that I just do when I have not only time, but the motivation and the energy to do it. My hope, though, is me sharing all of these feelings with you guys, and hopefully you can kind of understand where I'm coming from, will motivate me to do more, because I really do want to make more. But I have to make it clear that when I make videos, it's going to be on my timetable. I don't want to make it so that, like, I'm trying to strive for every video a week, or if people are asking me to review a brand new movie, chances are I'm probably not going to. Like, I'm sorry, like, I get comments from people asking me, like, hey, am I going to review, such and such movie that just came out? And as much as I would love to, it's just, I really have to be very picky with the types of topics that I choose for this channel. I have to think about the timeliness of it, whether it's even worth it me doing so. I have to think about, like, how I want to structure the video, how I want to do all these things. And so, I don't know, like, all of this could be coming off as some kind of first world problem. And I guess that's another thing that's kind of kept me from making more videos, is because I've been going down a lot of rabbit holes on YouTube where I'm watching a lot of creators who make videos about kind of like the state of the world that we're in, and trying to help people make a difference in their own lives. Some great examples of guys who are actually out there making content that improves people's lives are like Caleb Hammer. I mean, I know he has a reputation for yelling at people and being very mean to get his points across, but he's changed a lot of lives for the things that he's told people about how to get out of their financial messes. A similar thing would be a guy named Zach Rios, who compiles a whole bunch of TikTok videos of people making idiotic financial decisions and then just talking about ways to avoid getting in those kind of troubling positions. And then another great example of a guy who I think is out there doing tremendously good work is Damon Cassidy, who along those same lines is talking about, like, the struggles people have on the job market, the things that our politicians and the people in authority just are not doing to help people whatsoever. And so I look at these guys and the impact they're making, and I'm wondering, like, what's the point of me talking about, like, movies and video games ultimately? Like, I know it's fun, and that's why I do it, is because it is fun for hopefully you as well it is for me. But I hope that with the videos that I want to make and the videos that I'm going to continue to make, I can make some kind of difference in the world. Promise me, I'm not trying to be pretentious in saying that. Like, there are ways to use discussions about, film and video games and other forms of art that can push people to changing their lives and to thinking about their circumstances differently. And that's the kind of content I want to make. Things that will cause people to not just think about, like, the media that they consume. And I really mean consume in the sense that they're just watching it for the sake of watching things, but, actually engaging with what they're looking at and experiencing. Because I've found in my life that a lot of the things that I deal with in my personal life come from the lessons that I've learned vicariously from watching characters experience it on the screen or experiencing challenging things that I've overcome in video games. As silly as that might be, like, I've legitimately had great things that I've been able to overcome in my life simply through, cultural osmosis, if you will. So at the end of the day, like, I just want to reset expectations that I am going to do my darndest to try to make as many YouTube videos as I can for, to keep you guys around, because I greatly appreciate everyone who ever watches my videos, comments on them, shares them with friends, likes them. I just appreciate that from the standpoint of, like, hey, I made a thing and someone actually cared enough to watch it. But in the future, it's going to be on my timetable. I'm going to make the videos that I want to make, and I actually would want to watch to begin with. And just know that I can't cover every topic, but I want to cover as much as I can. I hope that I can find a better way to balance my life so that I don't find myself wondering if my hobby is even worth my time and my energy as well as your time. Like, I want to be better at this so I can genuinely get better at my craft. I can make better things for you, and hopefully we can all benefit greater from just the effort I want to put in and kind of change things around for myself. So if you've been wondering why my channel's been silent for the past few weeks, that's kind of the sort of the existential crisis, if you will, I've been dealing with, but I'm good now. Making this video has been very helpful for me, and I hope you can understand why I have made it. If you appreciate the work that I'm doing, please give the video a like and subscribe to the channel. For doing those things really does help me out, and more videos are coming, I promise. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.